that have been affected massively: Labour Party, and the PDP. Maybe NMPP to some extent, but these two parties. And I think that is why you see that the other parties are sort of petted away because they're not in the game. Even leading into the elections, we had 4 main contenders and 4 leading candidates and 4 leading parties. And this is what you see at this time, where they're talking about the discrepancies in results, and they're disputing all the results. Is because of the numbers that they are getting in different states. I mean, Labour Party has won some states, the PDP has won some states, the APC, as it seems, is leading in the states that they have won. So it's between the 3 of them.
And what does this all mean? I mean, when you hear the candidates speak during the campaign, they're all willing to form a government of national unity. And then you have a situation on ground where the governing party says, continue with the coalition. The opposition parties are saying, we don't want this result because it's not our result. Does it question the sincerity of political parties in Nigeria and this whole the winner takes it all attitude? Where does that leave our democracy?
This is it's a complicated question, but a very important one, because in the past it seemed that yes, the winner always took it all. It was a zero-sum game, which hasn't played out well for the country. Because a lot of people feel left out, especially because the government is so centralized, and which is why people have been calling for a decentralization of our government, so that people feel like they have some power at their state levels or their regional levels to do what they need to do in order to bring development closer to them. So I think it's something that we have to discuss. Government of national unity, it sounds good, but do the right thing. I think most times, if you do the right things, the APC woman was talking about playing by the rules, but do you actually play by the rules? He said there are rules and regulations. Yes, we do have rules and regulations in this country. Do politicians play by them? Do they accept them? Do they do the right thing? So if you do the right thing, maybe you might not require a government on national unity. Maybe if you have a system that is accommodating to everybody, then you do not really need a government on national unity. This is something that we need to sort out as a country.
And we've got just like a minute and a half or so left. Going beyond the disputed presidential ballot, as you reminded me yesterday, that it's not just the presidential ballot.
Yes.
There's also a National Assembly election. I mean, what's the picture that's emerging from that in your assessment? Because it looks like the Labour Party is slowly stamping its imprimatur on this country, having come from nothing previously.
What I'm hearing in the streets is a lot of shock that the Labour Party came this far. People started from saying they were 2 people tweeting in a room, to they were internet frenzy, noisemakers, to street noisemakers, to what we are seeing today. They've actually done well, even if they don't win the presidential election. 9 months ago, they were nowhere. So, that party has been a phenomenon. A lot of the people that ran for House of Reps, National Assembly on Labour Party won. So it is good for Nigeria, I think, to have 3 major parties rather than 2, so people have an option.
Very well said. Major upsets we've seen in this election. Hopefully we get time to discuss them state by state. Actually, we have 2 more minutes.
Okay, let's ride on.
2 minutes ago said 2 minutes left.
And there's always 2 more minutes. So when you look at the major upsets, I mean, we have at the last count that I checked, we have like 6 governors who are contesting to go to the Senate, but they lost out. How huge is that, or how minimal is that?
If you remember yesterday, I said Nigeria is changing. I think we are gradually coming to the days of accountability. I don't know how far it will take to get there, but we are getting there, especially because of the youth movement. This is a generation that is ready to take over. Well, that's a general statement, but they seem to be ready to take over. They want to retire as many people as possible. That shouldn't be in government, that shouldn't be in power, that should be home with their grandchildren. And rightly so. Make space and make way for other people to use their capabilities, to work for their country, to have opportunities to grow. That is what it should be, not some set of old men. Of course, we'll all get old, being on the seat forever.
You make it sound like we should retire all the old people. Shouldn't there be a handshake between the old and the young?
The old should be grooming, the young to take over, not stay put. Are we seeing that grooming happening? It needs to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. But in the meantime, Nigerians are still waiting with bated breath, counting, continuing after a tight election. Great hopes invested in this election.
Yes, great hope. I mean, it's been phenomenal, the kind of interest in this election. I mean, every day, Nigerians are glued to the television, radio set, listening, voracious appetite for updates on what is going on, because they are eager for this to end so that they know where we are headed as a nation. We hope that this is wrapped up nicely. We hope that everything is resolved nicely, but it's an evolving story, so we shall see.
Constance, thank you very much indeed. Dr. Constance Ikoku is an Arise News analyst, and she is, of course, a journalist in her own right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very nicely said, Charles. And this is where we will be dropping anchor on the segment of the Arise News coverage of the 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections. We'll take a break now. And of course, when we return, you will be joining, or Ungazi and Suleiman will be here to take you through the next couple of hours. I'm Adeso Moran.
And I'm Charles Aniegolu. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And of course, Dr. Constance Ikoku here with us in the studio. Bye-bye.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
When you hear the sound of credit alert, we can easy transfer, say we want to serve you better. No be play, we go turn your business around. We are Fidelity Bank. Sure you be the person we want relax. Save your money, your girl with the serve, we know they tire. Say now your future be our concern. At Fidelity Bank. Fidelity there for you. We are here for you. For me, for you. We are the bank for you. We are the bank. It's you, do it all for you. For me, for you. We go stand by you. We go stand by you. Put your trust in us. We are the bank for you. We are the bank.
With Fidelity, we keep our word.
Today, the Tony Elmelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program has trained over 1.5 million young African entrepreneurs. We have disbursed nearly $100 million to over 18,000 beneficiaries who have gone on to create over 400,000 jobs across Africa.
We need to do more for women in Africa. Empower a woman, you're empowering a whole society.
The Tony Elumelu Foundation gives access to a world-class business training and seed capital.
Thanks to the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program, we've been able to structure our business and operations, but also we got the funding and financial needs to concretize it and make it happen.
This is the impact we want to achieve at the Tony Elmelu Foundation. The Tony Elmelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program is sector agnostic. The only thing that is important to us is your ideas. The future of Africa is in your hands.
It all starts with a bell. And that bell means it's business time. The bell rings in London, Lagos, Cairo, and Joburg, kicking off a new day of opportunities. New idea being born and bought, deals being done, big global players winning big or losing it all. IPOs, mergers, takeovers, stocks, bonds, and commodities. In the business world, the winner takes the spoils. In the business day, every moment matters. Trust us to be your guide to the highs and lows of the global marketplace. We will round up the business day what's up, what's down, the bears and the bulls, and what to watch out for. This is Arise Exchange.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. You're with Arise News in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, as we bring you special coverage of Nigeria's presidential and National Assembly elections. I am Ngozi Alelu.
I'm Sulaiman Alede, and over the next hours, we'll be live with our correspondents across Nigeria, as well as analysts, commentators, and party representatives who help us understand the issues that have turned this presidential election into one of Nigeria's most hotly contested ballots.
Well, as Nigerians contend with the numerous challenges in Saturday's elections, including the issues associated with the bimodal voter accreditation system, that's the BVAS, Arise News can confirm that the Nigerian police has arrested members of a syndicate suspected to be involved in the BVAS manipulation. Now, this follows a sting operation on a premises suspected to be the operational center of the syndicate at Ganges Street in Highbrow, Maitama District, right here in Abuja. Well, the Nigerian police is currently investigating the illegal possession and suspected manipulation of the BVAS. One of those being interrogated is the vice president of a company, Emperor Technologies.
Now, so 3 days on, and vote counting in Nigeria's presidential and National Assembly election continues, but it is a process that has become mired in deepening controversy. Now, results from 29 states have been announced at the National Collation Center in Abuja so far. The APC and the PDP are currently tied with 10 states under their belts each. The Labour Party has won in 8 states, with the NNPP clinching victory in Kano. So it is hotly contested between the 3 main parties, the closest it has been in years.
to get the constitutional 25% requirement in the FCT and so cannot win the election. Well, these comments have ignited a conversation and more controversy. So the question is, what does the Constitution say about all of this? All right, joining us now, RISE analyst Ebong Udom will be expecting Dr. Sam Amadi, who is a lawyer. He'll be helping us break down the legalese as far as all of this is concerned. Ubong, so good to have you on this. Yes, on this special. First off, your reaction to what we just saw there. This syndicate.
I think there's more to it. I think this is just there has to be a lot more, and so I don't jump to conclusions. I try to follow the facts. So as the facts come out, we'll get to know. But it's interesting that right after all the complaints about the BVAS system, that we now find that there's a compound right here in Abuja where they have these BVAS machines. And but I suspect there's a lot more to this.
Do you think this justifies those who are calling for the outright cancellation of the election?
I don't know. I don't know that this does. However, it's interesting that this discovery is made as these complaints are being ratcheted up.
Well, again, this has to do with some technology, because one of the syndicates arrested is seemed to be a tech expert. But again, by and large, recall we had this conversation, and you did say Nigerians shouldn't be so much in a hurry to ask INEC to get the results out. But let's talk more a little bit about the activity of the police in this case. Perhaps citizens can also volunteer more information to the police to help unravel if there are more, as you say.
Well, normally the way police operate, someone tipped them off on this. And there's always a reason why someone does what they do. So, you know, being a journalist, everyone has their agenda. And, you know, if someone tips off the police, it might be that they want to flesh this story out. And so we'd like to follow it where it leads, but I don't want to jump to any conclusions right now.
So now let's talk about the coverage so far. You've been in Abuja since your arrival, and you've seen how much of reportage that we've gotten so far. So give us an assessment of what the local media and even the international media has done so far.
Well, local media, let's start with international media, because that's what I'm part of. And today, what they wanted to know was the significance of the Obi win in Lagos. What does it mean? It was something that fascinated the international community. And the other thing that is fascinating them now is what's happening with the FCT, and the fact that the FCT might be in play because of the provision that requires the states, I believe it's 25% in 3/4 of the states, plus the federal capital territory.
Yeah.
And none of the major parties got 25% in federal capital territory. So what does that mean? And that's probably what I'll be explaining tomorrow when I get there.
You want to wait till tomorrow before you get to explain all of that? What exactly can you make of it now? As things stand?
I don't know, because
let me just put this in, because look, Labour Party so far, what we're hearing, has scored 8 states in its kitty. The PDP has 10, and the APC. Oh, okay. Being told that it's 7 actually, but you know the figures are fluid. So yeah, and PDP has 10, APC 10. That might change, anytime soon. But when you see the PDP in alignment with the Labour Party and maybe a few others who are insisting that, look, this thing has been rigged, it's not acceptable. What do you make of it? You know, because some are saying, well, the figures we're seeing, where you have incumbents actually losing, their seats, their aspiration for the Senate.
There should be some credibility to those numbers, because we've had upsets of the people in power,
right,
and very powerful people as well. ex-governors. Oh no, they're still governors.
Sitting
Mhm.
governors.
Sitting
Sitting
governors.
governors.
So sitting governors, 3 sitting governors have lost their attempts to go to the
Senate.
Senate.
Mhm.
So that's not something that normally happens in Nigeria because sitting governors in Nigeria are very powerful. They control the entire state coffers and they use it at will most of the times, and it helps them get reelected and get into the Senate after because that seems to be the tradition in Nigeria now that after serving your full term as governor, you then go into the Nigerian Senate. So that's it's fascinating because you have these complaints. At the same time, if you look at the breakdown, you'll find that it seems there's some validity to a lot of the voting that has gone on. Peter Obi has won in the southeast. He's also won in the north central. He's won in the west. You have the same situation with Bola Tinubu. He's won in the southwest. He's won in the south. He's won in the northwest. He's won in the northeast. So it's quite interesting how it's panning out. But what will happen in the long run is there will have to be some type of coalition deal to run the National Assembly. That's the way it's looking right now.
That is if they don't follow the same tradition of the campaign and moving to the party of whoever becomes president.
Yeah, to the ruling
governing
party.
As journalists, what we should perhaps be setting as an agenda now is how the political parties can ensure that whoever gets into the National Assembly, if you're hard done by and you say you want to ditch the party, then you can leave the seat and just take a walk.
Well, that has been litigated severally in Nigeria, where we've had situations, I believe, before the 2015 election, which was the last election that I covered here. You had a situation where a number of governors switched parties just before the election. They were PDP, the ruling party at the time, the PDP party. I believe they were led by Bukola Saraki, who was then the governor of Kwara State, and that was a game changer. And when he went into the Senate, he emerged as the Senate president. That was also an issue where it was, I believe, was it not litigated that they changed parties?
Yeah.
And so this is part of the landscape as far as Nigerian politics. But this time it's a bit different because we have four major parties that will have a say in
the National
Assembly.
Right, but before we bring in Sam Amadi, Dr. Sam Amadi, our Rise News analyst, let's clarify the Labour Party right now, presently, as we speak, has 7 states in its kitty. The PDP has 11, while the APC has 10 states. All right, and NNPP, of course, has 1 state, being Kano State. Let's bring in Dr. Sam Amadi. Dr. Sam Amadi, good to have you. Let's talk about the, brewing discourse around 12 to 3rd. Is the Constitution vague on the issue of how a candidate can emerge winner of the presidential election? Let's even take it from this situation where the 2 parties they're almost neck to neck. Just like we read out, I mean, the PDP has 11, the APC has 10. And if you don't, according to some lawyers who've been, covering this all day, they're saying if you don't make 25% in the FCT, you cannot be deemed to have won the presidential election. Help us understand this. Is the Constitution vague on it?
It's not vague at all. It's very clear and elaborate. The Constitution sets out the scenario very carefully. And let's say that I think the draft of the Constitution are very brilliant persons and wise. Whoever is going to be the Nigerian president should be someone who has broad mandates. This is more so in a plural society with a plural religion, ethnicity, and social groups. And so wisely, you have to not just majority takes the vote, but also it must be a majority that is broadly representative and symbolic of the various diversity of the country. So first, you have to have majority vote, so that's democracy. But again, this is super, what we call in constitutional theory, super majoritarian. So not just a majority, but a majority that covers several, that captures several areas. So first, majority. Second, 25% of two-third states. Now, the only rider there is the constitutional language says highest number of votes cast at election, also not less than 1/4, 25% of vote cast at election of each of the at least 25, at least two-thirds of the 36 states and FCT. Now, the real problem, that's when when you have the majority, you must also have 25% in two-thirds of the states. The issue here is two-thirds of the states, does it including FCT or an FCT? Now, if you look at the grammatical structure from a critical point of view, that sentence could be broken down to say you must score 25% of two-thirds of the states, 1, 2, 25% of FCT. So the conjunction and means that all the states of the federation, one leg, 25% of FCT. Again, from a legal point of view, one can argue that it suggests clearly that FCT is a must win. And what could be the reason for that? The reason is simple, because FCT was conceived as a melting point. So if the objective of the constitutional molders is to have a presidency that captures the essence of Nigeria, then it reasons that FCT representing, don't forget, in 1976, the Akeola-Goda Committee recommended this place as a kind of no man's land. Not that it has nobody, but a place will have center of the country geographically, a place that will have enough capacity to create a, if you like, a spectrum of Nigeria. And that's why the Aboriginal owners of this city were also pushed further off, compensated or not compensated. So the logic here, therefore, is that there's enough constitutional material. In the constitutional interpretation, we refer to what we call legislative history. What is the mind of those who crafted this constitution? And one can argue clearly that their mind is to have a president because of our history of ethnic domination. For 1958, the Willikes Commission, where the major ethnic groups seem to dominate. When we go to the Macpherson Constitution in 1954, we saw how regionalism created a divisive pressure in the country. So post-military, which the military was more like a unifying entity that tried to govern from a centralized perspective. So having created Abuja as the federal capital territory, it designates Abuja as a must-win, or at least good showing in Abuja to qualify. I will take that view, reading grammatically and. Now, if you look at the Constitution in other references, they say FCT, or they say including the FCT. So if you had said including the FCT, one would argue that the 25% of two-third states, meaning 36 plus 1, two-third. So even if you don't get that one, but you have enough to qualify as two-third, in this case, some will argue to 25 or thereabout 34.6, we don't have decimal, maybe 25 states. So that will be clear, including. But saying you must get at least 25% in two-third of all the states of the Federation and Abuja, grammatically simply means, one, you must have 25% of two-thirds of states of the Federation. Second sentence, you must have 25% of FCT. Copulate it together through a conjunction, and it becomes the winner must have 25% of two-thirds of all states in the Federation and the federal capital territory. So there's no getting away from that grammatical
Let me
rule.
jump in
And
here.
yes,
quickly here, and it looks as if the law is being twisted now. So that is why we need some clarity here. Yeah, some lawyers, and from what I see here, it looks to me that it's not compulsory for a presidential candidate to win the FCT. And we'll go to section 2991 of the Constitution, which provides that the provisions of the Constitution shall apply to the Federal Capital Territory as if it were one of the 36 states. In this case, you can make FCT the 37th state. And it went on to say in section 134 of the Constitution, which provides that, quote, not less than 1/4 of the votes cast at the election in each of at least 2/3 of all the states, and the FCT, end of quote, means 25 states or 24 states plus the FCT. So winning the FCT by a candidate is not compulsory.
No, that's wrong. That's actually, that reinforces my position. Now, let's take the first place. That it argues that FCT should be taken as a state. What that constitutional provision is seen several places in the way we treat FCT as a state. But don't forget also, when it says plus FCT, read that carefully. And the Supreme Court has said the way to interpret a constitutional text is literally, except there is any mischief or such literal interpretation creates absurdity. Now, if it says that a candidate who scores the highest number at any election in accordance with section, okay, if it says the federation plus, now it's not including. Plus means it's additional to what is provided. Plus does not mean including what is provided. Plus is additional. So what I'm saying is there are two levels to look at it. The first is the grammatical level. That sentence, through a grammatical analysis, simply means A, there is conjunction brings two I teach legal theory, I teach legal drafting, I used to teach in base legal drafting. And the first will say what we call compound sentences, simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. Now, the thing about simple sentences are sentences where what we call subject and predicate is one. So you must win this. Okay. Compound sentences is when two simple sentences are joined together. So I've told you, grammatical analysis, that if the first says you have to have 25% in 2/3 of all the federation, one simple sentence, you have to win 25% of FCT, another simple sentence. When you use a conjunction, you have created a compound sentences having one subject and two predicates. Win 2/3 of 25% of total states. Win 25% of FCT. The other references we made confirms that because it says plus. So yeah, it's plus the FCT. So the point here is, and of course the court may take different views on how they construct the provision. But I'm saying that from a literal reading of this section, and many of us can say maybe this is something we need to change in the future. And it never came up for determination because if I remember very well, in the previous election, the person who won, President Buhari, got more than 25%, and nobody really raised. Now that maybe we might head into this issue, it will be an issue for the court to determine. But I'm saying here that on grammatical and constitutional reading, nobody can dismiss that.
And Dr. Madi, now you're talking about constitutional reading. That is why we have to go back to the Constitution, because where we have some bit of conflict, explain to us, if you have conflict between an act, in this case, the Electoral Act, and the Constitution, I'm very sure the Constitution is supreme. So that is why we go back again to 299, which is so clear there. And I read, the provisions of this Constitution shall apply to the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, as if it were one of the state of the Federation. And accordingly, you can see all of those things accorded to states were listed there from paragraph A, B, C, before you get to the other part.
Let's bring in a bong here, really, so that, I mean, all this discussion really shouldn't even be happening at all, because Dr. Abadi says the Constitution actually recognizes the FCT as a state, if I got you correctly. Ebon, what's your understanding of all of this? Really?
Well, I am trying to look for an explanation so I can explain to the folks outside this country who want to know what's going on here. And my question is, does this affect the declaration of a winner?
Good point, and that's the point. Or should it? Dr. Amadi, did you hear Ebong's question?
I heard him very well.
Yes.
Now let's 2 points very clear here. You said about constitutional interpretation, and you're right. See, when you say should be treated as a state for the purpose of benefits that states receive, and it listed those benefits that how you should treat Abuja as part of a state for different reasons. Okay, but again, don't forget, in the same constitution, Abuja has many distinguishing features. Abuja does not have a governor; states have governors. Abuja is listed by the National Assembly, states are listed by state assemblies. So there are ample evidence that also in many ways the constitution treats Abuja in some respect as different. Now back to the issue of that interpretation. Yes, Abuja is a state. It should be treated as a state, like you said, not a state. It should be treated as if it was a state. But it's a must-win state. What the question was you're asking yourself, why should the constitution designate one territory that should be taken as a state and said, for you to be a Nigerian president, you must win? Many people have argued that this is really a needless provision, and we can argue that maybe it should be taken out. But I'm saying the way we interpret constitutions, every constitutional provision is presumed to be meaningful and presumed to be what the writers intended, except there is any real literal absurdity. And I'm saying careful reading suggests that there is nothing irrational, illogical for a country that is seeking, by the way, many countries in the world, there are no requirements of two-thirds or such broad kind of inclusion. And that's why we say that constitutions are so generic. They are unique to themselves. They are an evolution. They speak about the historical contingencies and contemporary experience of a nation. Nigeria can even, for example, under Abacha's constitution, provided for multiple presidencies, provided for rotational presidency. So the character of a constitution is unique to it. And so back to the question Ebong asked, before you declare someone a winner, and that's what INEC is doing now, you collect the results, and then you validate those results. And when they are convinced that these results represent what they consider valid votes, if Mr. A has got the highest majority vote, easy to determine, look at the total tabulation through Excel or whatever. The second question they will examine and determine is, has he got the spread? Now, it is then the return officer, the INEC chairman, who will make that reading and say, this section doesn't require me to look for 25% of two-thirds of all the Nigerian state of the federation, including FCT, in which case he adds FCT as a 37 state, like you said, and does the mathematics, whether it comes to a fraction or a whole number, 24 point something or 25 or 24. He checks it off, you have crossed that qualification. He therefore declares whoever has those two twin qualifications as the president-elect. If he takes the reading, which the reading I'm saying is the correct literal reading of that constitutional text. If he says, what the constitution says is 2/3 of 25% of 2/3 of 36 states plus 25% of FCT, which in this case is reckoned as one of those states, but in this case designated extra as a must, not must win here, but you must show acceptability, 25% in the FCT. If he takes that view, then he will look at whether the man who has the majority vote and the guy who has these numbers have met this threshold, and they cumulatively, if he has met it, he will declare the winner. So these are not academic, considerations. They are the condition precedent to a declaration. Now, there could be a misdeclaration. The point with INEC is that INEC even has more powers than the courts in the Electoral Act, but court has final powers. So, for example, the Electoral Act does not require a court to invalidate a return by INEC for non-substantial violation. So even if it's a small violation, the court can say it doesn't matter. But INEC has the powers to invalidate all the elections, any election. INEC has the powers to make a wrong declaration, which the court can correct. So it's rests on the return officer to interpret that constitution. But what we are doing now is to shape how he will understand that constitutional interpretation. So it's not academic. It's what you must determine before you make that declaration.
So, still staying with you, Dr. Somamadi, I mean, you are the lawyer, so you help us understand this. If the FCT is a state, why does it not have a minister as required by the Constitution for all states?
You have made a case beautiful. That is why I said FCT is not a state. The Constitution says should be in some circumstances. I made a point. I said it looks like a state for some consideration. It's not a state for some consideration. No state in this country is made law that is under the legislative competence of the National Assembly. But FCT is under the legislative competence of National Assembly. No state in this country is run by a minister, a cabinet minister reporting to Mr. President. So this is a federal territory, just like you have Washington, D.C. The difference here is that our Constitution has chosen to make this territory a place where to win, you must have good showing. Now, look at the U.S. constitutional framework for declaring a winner. Different states have weighted scores, which are historic experience. At the end of the day, it comes to a college represented by the House of Reps, not the Senate. So there is always peculiarity around constitutional definition for states. In Nigeria, that peculiarity arising from our history of divisiveness and the quest for FCT was to find a unifying factor. That culminated in the constitutional makers thinking, and the language of constitution must be presumed to be intended. There are no surplusage, there are no hanging phrases. Whatever they say, you must read it as what they intend. So in this case, they intended that you must at least have 25%, 1/4 of the votes cast at the election, each of at least 2/3 of all states in the federation and Abuja. So now, look at it. You must score 2/3 of what? All states in the federation, yes, 1, 2/3 of federal capital territory. There is no other grammatical way to make sense of this if you look at the principles of sentence construction and how sentences are joined together. And then I said constitutionally too, you must interpret the Constitution according to the fact that it's simple, it's lexical phraseology, except somebody has any other legislative history where the legislators or those who have this Constitution said this is what they mean. One of the problems of our constitutional interpretation is that we don't have a rich archive of what we call legislative history. For example, if this was a constitution made and the constitutional delegates had a big debate recorded in history, somebody argued, should Abuja be given a Trump? He said, yes, it's not. Somebody said, no, and the final is okay, let's give Abuja a Trump. This will be a historical evidence to aid our interpretation. But of course, we don't have that. So what we have to presume, and almost irrefutable, is that whatever they said in lexical term is what they intended. And the point I'm making therefore is that saying Abuja is a state is not correct. Abuja is taken as a state in some respect, and in some respect, it's not a state. And the example you gave is he has a minister of federal capital territory reporting to the president. He has a National Assembly making law for it, whereas the states have state assemblies and governors.
Right, Dr.
So
Sam,
Abuja is a state.
Dr. Sam, Ebong has a point to raise about what diasporans may be asking right now.
Now, if no one meets this constitutional requirement, what next? A runoff?
Sure. The Constitution, again, very detailed provision. The Constitution says if nobody meets this, you take 2 steps. First, the man who has the majority of votes cast, you put him in one box. Not the man who has the largest 25% of the states. No. The first person, the first pick for this is the one who has a majority of the highest number. No, the first one is among the first one is A, 3A. Let's go 3A if you don't mind. So yeah. 3A says Section 134 sub 3A says the candidate who scored the highest number of votes at any election held in accordance with subsection 2 of this section. So you pick, if nobody got 25 as required in 24 states plus 25 in FCT, you pick the man who has the highest number of votes. You might actually have 25% in 5 states, 6 states, but you have the majority vote. What does that mean? First, this is the man who the most of Nigerians have voted for to be their president, but not the man who meets the spread. The second person you now pick in 3B, if you go to B, is the man who scored the highest number of votes in the highest number of states. This is not the man who has the highest number of 25 in states. No, 25 is gone. Nobody got it. So 2 people will run. The man who has the highest number of votes total, whether he has 6 states, 25 or 2 or 23, he runs. The second pick is the man who wins majority. So if Sam Amadi is a candidate and I got in, let's say in Kano State, highest number of, I won the highest in many of these states, but I didn't get 25 in many. So A has 22 states, I have 21 states where I had 25%. But I actually won more states, 10 states, that A who got more 25 than myself. I'm the second to do run-up. So what the run-up will now be is between the highest voter, the guy who has the highest number of votes, and the man who won in more states. Now, if there are a number of people who have the highest vote in highest number of states, then you go back to who has among these 2 or 3 or 4, who has the highest total votes, because they all have the same equity. They all have highest number of states. You choose the one with the highest total vote to run with the man in box A who got the highest total votes. So that's how the process is. So the Constitution has provided clear principles. If nobody got this, INEC will say, bingo, we pick the highest vote. Let's say it's party A. Then we'll look at the remaining guys and say, which of these guys who won in more states is Mr. C? Mr. C and Mr. B runs. Even the Constitution goes further to say, if at that race nobody wins, it provides for another prospect until by a simple, in that case, and when they're running again, you're looking at spread again. But if nobody makes it again, then you take simple majority vote. So this could last into 2 reruns. That's why I think INEC provides for 2 weeks interval between the presidency and the governorship, because the Electoral Act provides for, in fact, the Constitution provides about 7 days. Within the next 7 days, 7 days of the election, you will do that. The question is, if this process drags, when is the 7 days, starting from when the election held, or when the INEC has made this decisive determination that there is no winner? Those are issues that INEC will deal with. Complex, but I think clear.
Dr. Madi, this is very interesting because several times the highest vote getter in the US election has not emerged as the president because
Absolutely.
we have an electoral college, which
Correct.
is
All right,
based on the number of
unfortunately,
states.
gentlemen, we have to cross live to the National Collation Center. Yes, live. That's it.
Well, what you're watching now is activities at the National Collation Center, where Nigerians are waiting with bated breath to understand the next direction for the country, and this clearly has shown that some of the election results are almost closing in. So in the next couple of hours, perhaps as we move into a new day, INEC should be able to wrap up the results. But the final outcome of this result will rest with the man you're watching at the moment. That's the chairman of Nigeria's electoral umpire, INEC.
Okay, Resident Electoral Commissioner, introduce yourself, followed by the scope, and make your presentation.
Honorable Chairman, existing protocol of it. My name is Professor Gabriel Lebi Yomere. I am the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Cross River State. And I'm Professor Akbofure Rimruke, Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Efru, Delta State. I serve as scope for Cross River State.
Okay, please go ahead and make your presentation.
Okay, the number of registered voters in Cross River State stands at 1766466. 1766466. The number of accredited voters are 44880. 44880. The performance of the political parties. Party A, 425. 425. Party AA, 221. Party AA, 221. Party AAC, 406. 406. Party ADC, Party ADC, 2268. 2268. Party ADP, 885. Party ADP, 885. Party APC, APC, 130520. 130520. Party APGA, Apuga, 618. 618. Party APM, 535. APM, 535. Party APP, 252. Party APP, 252. Party BP, Party BP, 414. 414. Party LP, Party LP, 179 917. 179 917. Party NNPP, 1644. 1644. Party NRM, 371. NRM, 371. PDP, Party PDP, 95425. 95425. Party PRP, 822. 822. Party SDP, 290. 290. Party YPP, 422. YPP, 422. ZLP, 1533. 1533. Total number of valid votes, 416, 968. Total number of valid votes, 416, 968. Rejected votes, 24608. 24608. Total votes cast in Cross River State, 441,576. 441,576.
Okay, thank you very much. Any places where elections were not held or otherwise cancelled?
Yes, we have some challenges in 4 registration areas. And within these 4 registration areas, we have 8 polling units affected.
How many registration areas?
4.
How many polling units?
8.
Registered voters?
Registered voters in that, within this area is 3,175. 3,175.
PVCs collected?
2,675. 2,675.
Reasons for the cancellation?
Overvoting.
Okay. Party agents, any comments, any observation?
No observations, sir. No, from the party agents.
Okay, if you have no observations, please bring your results. Let me look at, no, not yet. Let me look at. The next state is Delta State. Yes. So go ahead, Rick, introduce yourself, followed by the scope.
I am Reverend Dr. Monday Udotom, the Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC Delta State.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Professor Onari Abraham Georgewell, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt. I am the State Collation Officer for the presidential election of 25th February 2023 in Delta State. The results for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Delta State are as follows. Total number of registered voters, 32,1,697. 32,1,697. Total number of accredited voters, 66,7149. 66,7149. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidates of each of the political parties are as follows. Party A, 979. Party A, 979. Party AA, 229. AA, 229. Party AAC, 357. AAC, 357. Party ADC, 160. ADC, 160. Party ADP, 788.
Please go back to ADC and call the figures out. ADC.
ADC, that's what I said.
Read the figures.
I said ADC 160.
No, look at the figures again.
ADC. No, that is ADP. The next one is ADP.
Okay, start the presentation all over again.
Okay.
Beginning with the votes scored by the candidates.
Party A, 979. Party A, 979. Party AA, 229. Party AA, 229. Party AAC, 357. AAC, 357. Party ADC, 160.
Is it 160 or something else?
160.
160?
Yes.
That is not what we have on the spreadsheet. We have 1604, not 160. And you have 1 and comma and 6 and 0. So there can be comma. Something has to follow.
1604.
No, not because I said it. Check. There can be 1 and a comma and just 60. It's going to be without the comma, so it's 160. So check your figures carefully.
Yes.
Are you seeing 160 something else or still 160?
It's 1604. It's 1604. It's an error.
Huh?
Yes, 1604.
Okay.
Yes. 1604. Party ADP 788. ADP 788. Party APC 90183. 90183. Party APGA 3746. Party APGA 3746. Party APM 1028. Party APM 1028. Party APP 493. Party APP 493. Party BP 1016. Party BP 1016. Party LP 341866. Party LP 341866. Party NNPP 3122. NNPP 3122. Party NRM 988. NRM 988. Party PDP 161600. PDP 161600. Party PRP 342. Party PRP 342. Party SDP 3071. SDP 3071. Party YPP 605. YPP 605. Party ZLP 3324. ZLP 3324. Total number of valid votes 615341. Total number of valid votes 615341. Rejected votes. Total number of rejected votes 39309. 39309. Total votes cast 654650. 654650. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Scope. Were there areas where elections did not hold?
Yes, sir.
Or council?
Yes, sir. We have about, no, not about, we have 11 ROAs that were affected in 2 local government areas, 11 ROAs. The number of polling units affected is 29. Registered voters affected in those PUs, 15701. Number of PVCs collected in the affected PUs is 13051. The reason is overvoting. 4.
Okay, thank you very much. Party agents, any comments? Any question, any observations? Okay, thank you very much. Please step forward and submit the result and the report. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next state is Ebonyi, Ebonyi State. Rec Ebonyi State, introduce yourself, followed by the scope.
My name is Mrs. Onyeka Ugochi Pauline, the resident electoral commissioner, INEC Ebonyi State. Sitting here with me is...
My name is Professor Charles Arizechukwu Igwe, FAS, the Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I am the State Collation Officer for Presidential Election Scope of 25 February 2023 in Ebonyi State. The results for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Ebonyi State are as follows. Total number of registered voters, 1597646. 1597646. Total number of accredited voters, 337887. 337887. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidate of each of the political parties are as follows. Total number of valid votes, 325,351. 325,351. Total number of rejected votes, 11990. 11990. Total votes cast, 337341. 337341.
Did you talk about? Vice Chancellor, I think you are reading the column. below rather than the spreadsheet. Before you go to the summary of votes cast, valid and invalid,
That's right, sir.
let us know the scores of the parties
Yeah,
and candidates.
the total number of votes received by the presidential candidates of each of the political parties are as follows. Party A, 178. 178. Party AA, 248. 248. Party AAC, 264. 264. Party ADC, 477. 477. Party ADP, 327. Party APC, 42402. 42402. Party APGA, APGA, 4120. Party APM, 367. 367. Party APP, APP, 182. Party BP, BP, 342. Party LP, LP, 259738. 259738. Party NNPP, 1661. 1661. Party NRM, NRM, 187. Party PDP, 13503. 13503. Party PRP, PRP, 83. Party SDP, SDP, 150. Party YPP, 197. 197. Party ZLP, 925. 925. Again, total number of valid votes, 325, 351. 325, 351. Total number of rejected votes, 11990. Total votes cast, 337341.
Okay, thank you very much, Scope. Any incidents of cancellation?
Yes, we had one cancellation in one RA in one polling unit.
Registered voters in the PU?
Number of registered voters there is 968.
968. 68. PVCs collected?
937.
Reason for the cancellation?
Overvoting, sir.
Okay, party leaders, party agents, any comments? No comments? Okay. Scope, please bring your results and report. Let me look. The next state is Anambra State. As Reg Anambra introduce herself and the scope.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, other board members, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Queen Elizabeth Awu, Resident Electoral Commissioner for Anambra State.
Thank you, Queen Elizabeth. Scope?
My name of the Honorable Chairman, members of the High Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Professor Mrs. Nenna N. Oti, the Vice Chancellor of the University, of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I am the State Collation Officer for the presidential election scope of 25th February 2023 in Anambra State. Here with me is Dr. Queen Elizabeth Awu, the Resident Electoral Commissioner for Anambra State. The result for the presidential election held on 25th of February 2023 in Anambra State are as follows. Figures are as follows, and I go to my spreadsheet. There I have the total number of registered voters, 265,6437. 265,6437. Number of accredited voters, 628,590. Votes received by political parties, 8,343. AA 108. AAC 112. ADC 208. ADP 299. APC 5111. APGA 7388. APM 325. APP 148. BP 514. LP 584621. NNPP 1967. NRM 118. PDP 9036. PRP 62. SDP 84. YPP 1997. ZLP 1420. Total valid votes 613,861. Rejected votes 10751. Total votes cast 624,612. Thank you.
Thank you, Scope. Any incidents of cancellations or places where elections were not held?
Yes, sir. Election did not hold due to threats of violence in Obaro LGA with 9 ROAs and 45 PUs. Thank you.
Registered voters?
Total number of registered voters in the affected areas, 25368.
PVCs collected?
25027. 25027.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Any comments, party leaders? Agents of parties, any comments? Okay, please step forward and submit your report. Collation Secretariat, any new arrivals? No new arrivals yet? Okay, we have 4 more states to go, and we are aware that they are on their way. So, okay, it's now 22 minutes after 10. Let's reconvene at 11. We are confident that they will be here. Let's reconvene at 11. That is in the next 40 minutes. 40 short minutes, not 40 long minutes. Thank you very much.
Talk about it.
All right, you've been watching collation of more results from the states at the National Collation Center of the 2023 general election.
Absolutely. And moments ago, we did see the state collation officer for Anambra State reel out the figures as the parties did fare at the just concluded presidential elections. And as it stands right now, the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, actually has won the elections in Anambra State with 584,621 votes cast. And of course, all right, we have been told that some questions are being raised there at the National Collation Center, and INEC is trying to attend to it. So let's go back to the Collation Center, and we'll come back here to the studio afterwards.
So thank you very much. Please provide water and food.
All right, thanks for staying with us. And the National Collation Center is going on a short recess, and they'll be back at 11 p.m. And of course, Arise News will be there to continue to bring you all the figures from the states. There are 4 more states to go, or maybe for the night or thereabouts.
So we're looking forward to the whole, collation wrapping up tonight. But what we do know as it stands is results from 33 states have so far been announced at the National Collation Center right here in the nation's capital, Abuja, so far. Well, the PDP and the Labour Party actually lead with 11 states, with the APC following with 10 states.
Great. And the NMPP clinched victory in Kano State. So the poll is hotly being contested between the 3 main parties, the closest it has ever been in years.
Well, in a moment, we will be crossing live to the National Collation Center and speak to Arise Politics editor Sumner Sambo, who is there and he's standing by. Okay, so when we do get Sumner, would of course he'll just give us a wrap of all that has
been happening, because from what we saw, the initial storm yesterday is gradually calming down, but not without the 2 main opposition parties, in very fierce press conferences today to,
it really was a busy day, Christian.
Absolutely. Let's go on with the stories. The 2 main opposition parties, the PDP and Labour, are calling for the results of Saturday's election to be cancelled. The parties have held a joint news conference calling once again for the votes to be cancelled and describing it as a sham.
Are witnessing the fact that the next government is going to be built on outright illegality. What INEC has accelerated itself to doing is to put itself in a trance to promote illegality and thereafter call for the courts to resolve the illegality that they have worked on. Nowhere in the world where there is respect for rule of law do people easily and hurriedly tell others with impunity, go to court, go and seek redress. the courts are final.
All election results must be transmitted at the polling unit level. And that is the basis, is those results from the over 176,000 units that we can use through the process of collation. So if you have not transmitted those results, it means that you have actually not conducted the election under the very law that we all applauded. So the right thing to do is for the INEC chairman to go forth and cancel the elections.
The ruling APC Presidential Campaign Council has held its own press conference calling for the counting and collation of the election results to continue. The Campaign Council spokespersons say the party will defend the vote and was confident of victory. Amaka here has that report.
Opposition parties, including the People's Democratic Party, Labour Party, and the African Democratic Congress, are calling for the cancellation of last Saturday's elections, which they say were marred by widespread violence, rigging, intimidation of voters, doctoring of documents, and violation of electoral guidelines. The parties are asking that fresh election be carried out within the window period allowed by the Electoral Act. They are also demanding the resignation of the chairman of INEC.
This election is not free and far from being fair or transparent. We have therefore arrived at the conclusion that the presidential election of Saturday, February 25, 2023, conducted by Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, under the leadership of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has been irretrievably compromised, and we have totally lost faith in the entire process. We also wish to declare a vote of no confidence on the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, by his conduct and reaction to the complaints of the enfranchised political parties. We believe that he lacks the integrity and moral standing to continue to oversee the process to a conclusion.
We are challenging the process because it fundamentally violates not just the law, but the electoral procedures which are derived from the Electoral Act, which INEC presented to all of Nigeria. And by the Electoral Act, is compulsory that these results have to be uploaded from the polling units. INEC has largely violated this thing.
However, the ruling All Progressives Congress is urging Nigerians and the Independent National Electoral Commission to disregard the call by the coalition, as an outright cancellation of the polls will be illegal. Instead, the APC is demanding that the candidate of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party concedes defeat even before the elections are called for any party.
The route they are taking is a route that is strange to law, strange to the process, strange to everything known under the Electoral Act. It is an illegal route they are taking, and it's just an illegal route to power that they want to take.
In 2015, President Jonathan did not wait for INEC to finish collation before he called President Buhari and congratulated him in the true spirit of democracy and sportsmanship. We urge Atiku Abubakar and Obi to follow the same path of honor instead of attempting to heat up the polity.
When asked what next if their demands for the cancellation of the polls is not adhered to, the coalition responds.
Our options are numerous. We don't have to come to you on that at the moment. We'll let you know as we progress.
The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Dumebi Kachuku, has, however, distanced himself and his party from those calling for the cancellation. Unperturbed, the Independent National Electoral Commission continues with the collation of the results of the presidential polls. And yes, it did continue with the collation of results. And so far, we have just told you about 33 states have so far been railed out in terms of who has won the presidential polls at the state level. Dr. Sam Amadi, our Rice News analyst, joins us now in the studio to really take a look at what we have seen today. Sam, today has really been busy from the position of INEC and even the parties themselves. But let's take a look at the results as we're seeing them right now. This is the map and what it is looking like. Dr. Amadi, talk to us about what you make of what you're looking at right now.
Well, this map shows clear competitive race. We have said before now that there will be, in this case, this race will be competitive, and we are seeing it in terms of states that are won. States, each of them, you can see 10, 11, 1, and of course 11. Now, what is going to be decisive here is also number of votes each of these people are winning, where they're winning. If they're winning in much more populated with margins, then because to win, you must have first majority. So even if for this, Ashwaju has -1 for weighted, but he's leading on total vote count so far from what we've seen from INEC results. The magic number, as they'll say, is to third at least of, without controversy, let's even say 24 states. So you will not get into whether it's 25 or 24 plus FCT, which is still awaiting. But again, 4 remaining. So if you know those 4, we can now predict, say, okay, fine. Maybe Ashwaju takes A or B, 1 or 2 or 3. Maybe Atiku takes
some of the
1 or 2
states, so we do
yes.
know Taraba
Yes.
state is still being awaited.
Yeah.
Borno, the home state of the vice presidential candidate
we
of
can
the
say
APC.
most likely will go to the APC box. Likely.
If this results have shown us anything, is that we can
Surprise
almost not predict anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but really, yeah.
Are there going to be swing states now? We talked about
We have Imo
Yeah,
too.
Imo is still awaiting.
Depending, yeah.
So Imo is presumably going by the wave. We can
In
say
the southeast.
most likely
it will go
Obi
to.
will win.
Yeah.
Whether somebody will get 25,
Yeah.
the side will be issue
Another
to watch.
issue to look at. But when you look at the results from Ebonyi State, for example,
Yes.
and Anambra State, you look at the gap which you're
Yes.
trying to say,
Yes.
that
They
what is
have
really
never gotten close to 25.
yeah,
in any
just on the
Southeast.
screen there,
Yeah.
that it's very, very important, or it's more important, you expand the gap
In fact, Ebonyi
against
is,
your opponents.
yeah,
Look at
Ebonyi
it.
is where APC did better than Enugu, than Anambra already have. Still, it's far less than
The
25%.
25% expected. No,
So-
you couldn't have done better in Anambra, because what APC has here in Anambra.
No, I said it did better in Ebonyi. than
Yeah, in
Anambra,
Ebonyi,
yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
So Anambra,
yes.
Enugu, they had less than
Anambra
3
is
or 5%.
5,111.
So clearly, Imo, will fall into one of those states that will resemble more or less like Ebonyi, Anambra. But if you go to Borno,
Look at the result from Delta. Astonishing.
Clearly.
With
The
Labour.
home of the vice presidential candidate
Interestingly,
of the PDP.
maybe Shetima
So
will
we're expecting the same type of
buck the
offsets
trend.
here.
Most of the vice presidents have lost their base.
That he has.
Dati didn't win in Kaduna.
Yeah.
Okowa didn't win in Delta. The NNPP,
the bishop
Edo didn't win. In fact, did abysmally low. So the only person probably who would likely win, in fact, the presidential candidates with the same article, Tinubu got beaten in his home, Obi and Atiku, the major political party, and then of Kokwanso, who won in their base. But the vice presidents, apart from Shetima, if this result comes true and he expectedly wins, he'll be the only person who did well. So interesting. We can say Bruno probably is going to give Ashwaju one more. Now, there's some interesting thing to watch in this election. When you go to, if there's going to be a rerun, if assuming nobody gets
the way it's looking,
yeah.
are we very likely to see a rerun? And between
apart from
there are three,
apart from winning here, we don't look at 25%.
Which winning, that is amassing
within the major,
vote collected. Yeah, that is one of 2 requirements.
Yes. So first is majority.
Majority.
Which, as is going, that Achuaju is still ahead by some margin.
Despite actually having one less state.
So winning,
the APC,
and
the PDP,
so that's the
and
trick.
the
So
Labour
if
Party.
you win, if you have the majority, and you didn't have to thought in whether it is plus,
24
whether it's
or
plus or including FCT, that will be figured out. But again, the second person that's wrong is not the guy who has more 25 in states, but the guy who has more majority Who won more states? So what does that mean? Let's assume Asiwaju wins, has the largest number of votes,
Yeah, which he
is
does
expected,
have right now.
but he couldn't make 25 plus or including and FCT, however you're going to define that. He gets become the first pick for a possible runoff. Okay. Now between Atiku Obi and obviously not Kokwanso as the case is going now, the question will now be who had majority votes in more states, not who had more 25%. You do get the point. So if you won more states, but you have less 25%, you'll be the second to do the runoff. So the second person to runoff is the person who has highest number of states votes in more states. So assuming the states are waiting now for Obi gets 2. Let's assume.
Yeah.
We talk about Taraba and
there's Imo, there's Borno.
Assuming, okay. Assuming APC gets 1. Assuming, so he might be the guy who would be the second to as a runoff. So it's a lot of permutation still, out there. Who wins majority vote? It looks like APC is going to get a majority vote. Who has 25% of 22 states plus, including and Abuja, however defined the INEC, the total officer who is the regulator, made that interpretation first. So if he interprets one way or the other, then people may go to court.
Dr. Sam Amadi, you're still with us because, of course, there's so much to interrogate, especially looking at how the votes, especially of the People's Democratic Party, is being decimated across the country. But for now, let's cross live to the National Collation Center, where our colleagues, Ndi Amugo, of course, political correspondent and news anchor, is standing by alongside our politics editor, Somna Sambo. Ndi, over to you. Talk to us about what's going on there.
All right, thank you so much, Amaka Ude in the studio here, Andy here at the Collation Center here in Abuja. We're really having a wonderful time. We have had about 2 breaks, and then we are on break now to get back by 11, and we've had up to 33 states mentioned as yet. So we're having give and take, that's about four, and then we are done. We've had Delta, Ebonyi, Anambra. And interestingly, the LP has done, I think I should say, so good, considering that they're a very young party among the other parties. I'll bring in my colleague, the political editor, Sabna Sambo, and we look at some of the results that have come in. One thing that seems to be clear is the fact that the number of total registered voters compared to the total votes cast across the federation seems to, what we're seeing is that quite less number of people came out to exercise their franchise. I was wondering with some at a point in time, is it that people, I don't understand what happened, why people are not coming out en masse, considering the total number of votes people registered, to vote. But let me hand you over. Let me just get over to Somna, and let's look at this thing together. You heard what I said about the fact that quite the people who registered, if you consider, if you juxtapose that with people who came out to vote, most times you're getting 1/3, 1/4 of the total number of registered voters. And then, of course, you can talk about the results we have so far, where I said earlier that LP, a young party, they've done quite well, one must say.
All right, so our viewers would have understood that earlier on there was a break, and when we came back from that break, the INEC national chairman then called other electoral officers from the remaining states to come over. And then from what we've seen here, most of those states are from the southern part of the country. We've seen some of those results coming in here and there, and of course, it's a clean sweep actually by the Labour Party, which you have said, from the southwest of the country. But what we have seen, the trend that we are seeing here actually is that the other political parties don't seem to be doing well there. I mean, getting the 25% that some of them we are actually eyeing in the southeast, it's sort of pretty difficult from the figures that we've been seeing. But well, we've had another adjournment, and by 11 we are supposed to converge. Hopefully, the remaining 4 states that are left would have been done with, and it will now be left for INEC to actually tell us if any of the candidates, the leading candidates, have actually been able to meet the constitutional requirements of Section 133 and Section 134, which has to do with what it takes for a president-elect to emerge. But from the trends that we've seen, of course, the political parties actually having challenges here and there. They've been talking about, especially the main opposition parties, saying that the process needs to be cancelled, while some of them have said it should be totally cancelled. Others are saying, no, some states should be cancelled, while others are saying that, look, at this point in time, Nigerians should actually allow the Electoral Commission to conclude its work, and then eventually from there, the INEC National Chairman will deem it fit whether to address some of the issues being raised here or there. But the information that I would like to give to our viewers, which we're just having, is that the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu has filed a case in Kano, a federal high court in Kano. I think a federal high court, yes, saying that the LP and then the PDP should not halt this ongoing coalition exercise by the Independent National Electoral Commission at the National Coalition Center here, that the court should grant it some relief to allow INEC to conclude the process, because if anything halts this process right now, it may not compensate for the injuries, quote, that the plaintiff may actually, face. So in essence, it's left to be seen if the defendants, as the PDP, the Labour Party, will also quickly dash to court tomorrow to actually answer to that. But I mean, it's been an interesting situation here by the political parties.
And the resources too that the nation has expended to conduct this election. Earlier, we had the IPAC chairman, Yaba Gisani, along with ZLP
Dan Wanya, who happens to be the presidential candidate of the party too.
Thank you. Who came and said they were in support, or they were urging their INEC to go on and finish this process. They came to say that. Well, I was thinking, when you look at what has happened in the Southeast, where LP has swept everything, what does that trend portend for our politics? What does it really portend?
Well, when we have collations ongoing like this, I mean, in the previous 2 elections that have gone past in 2019 and 2015, there were similar situations whereby you see political parties being divided. I mean, in 2019, we even saw some presidential candidates of what I call the fringe parties all coming together. At some point, some of them were divided. They came together to say, look, that they were in support of President Muhammadu Buhari, irrespective of what the PDP had said after the result was announced and all of that. So there's always that tendencies for division here and there, and for some of them to come around. But of course, the criticism has always been that, like, for example, the ZLP, the party chairman is also the presidential candidate. The Action Democratic Party too, the party chairman is the presidential candidate, and of course the national chairman of IPAC. So the other political parties too, like APC and others, they were also saying that, look, these people in one way or the other understand the process very well. While the Labour Party and the PDP are saying that, look, some of these people, they actually broke ranks because they have other things that are going for them, and that there's supposed to have been some camaraderie. But these people are saying that, look, the political parties and even INEC, they are just a segment of the entire electoral process. The people who did the voting are expecting the results, and then of course the Electoral Commission is supposed to deliver, and the civil society are also saying that, look, whatever it is, INEC must follow the law. But then people are now saying that if INEC is to follow the law, then why didn't INEC upload some of these results as its own manuals and guidelines had said to prevent this sort of challenges that we have right now? Because if INEC officials had followed the guidelines with some of these results being uploaded timely, then we wouldn't have had this issue. INEC would have ostracized itself, and then, of course, the political parties can, juggle up the issues of whether the results meet the requirement of the Electoral Act and the Constitution or not. So these are the challenges that we have. Their ranks have been broken, but like you had said earlier, one intriguing thing about this election is that the total number of registered voters in states and the people who came out for accreditation and people who came out for for the eventual voting, yes, there's a difference, a huge difference, especially the total number of those who registered and the number of those who got accredited. So the question beggars belief. If in Lagos State, for example, you have about 5-point-something million people that had eventually collected their PVCs, although 6-point-something million got registered, then how come we are seeing results that are now up to 2 million or so? It cascades down to other states. So it's left for the society, for INEC and others to now let us know what exactly the problem is. That is after, if eventually a winner is announced. But from my experience, what is happening right now looks like INEC may eventually conclude this exercise, because for INEC to have told us to still remain here, it looks like it has all its results. Maybe it will tell us if any of the contestants has met the requirements of Section 123 subsection and Section 134 of the Constitution as amended, or if we are going for a second ballot, which will run off.
We'll see whether that happens, but we're still waiting here. In the next give and take 10 minutes or so, we'll be going back into the Collation Center where we'll hopefully get the remaining 4 states we're still hoping for to be announced. Like I said earlier, 33 has been announced, and we're indeed hoping that at the end of this exercise, a candidate will emerge who fulfills the requirement of being named the one who won the election. Back to you in the studio, Amaka Ode.
Well, thanks so very much, Ndi Amugo and Somna Sambo.
The candidate who fulfills all the requirements. Critical
may
line
emerge tonight with the speeds that INEC is going.
Absolutely.
But let's quickly continue with some of the latest stories. The FCT senatorial candidate of the Labour Party, Ireti Kingibe, has emerged winner of the senatorial election conducted last Saturday. Kingibe polled 202,175 votes to defeat the incumbent Philip Aduda of the People's Democratic Party, who polled 100,544 votes.
Well, Senator Aduda is the incumbent and has been in the Senate for 3 terms. He is the current minority leader of the Night Assembly. Well, let's bring back Dr. Sam Amadi, Raj News analyst, who's still here with us in studio, looking at all the results as they've been rolled out. Sam,